Thanks for your company. It's a pleasure to have you here. The details now. The minority NDC in Parliament is warning of acrimonious relationship with the governing NPP in the 8th Parliament due to be inaugurated next month. Results from the 2020 parliamentary elections gave the NDC and NPP 137 seats each, and there's one for an independent candidate. The situation leaves the 8th Parliament without a clear majority. But the NDC is now pushing for recollation of results in Techiman South, warning it will be the only way the NPP side can get their support in the next parliament. We'll bring you more as head of our political desk, Evans Mensah, brings this report.
The Sunyani West parliamentary elections was on a knife's edge till the very end. The election process itself was full of drama. It came down to the contents of one ballot box that was snatched by an assailant who was later caught, prosecuted and jailed. The MPP has used the ballot box snatching as a basis to challenge the election at the High Court, but they lost. At the final count yesterday, the MPP's candidate secured 13,100 votes against the NDC's 13,116 votes. The NDC's candidate, an incumbent MP, Kwame Chumesi Ampofo, won with just 16 votes.
So far as we win. So every win is a win. Despite that the vote is so close, 16 margin doesn't mean that NDC is going to lose the election next year. We are going to be far.
The MPP MP for Okre, Dan Boche, who led the party's delegation to monitor the collation of results, had demanded a recollation after it became obvious that the party had lost by the slimmest of margins. But in the end, Mr. Boche said the outcome was fair.
Both different. There's a justification to want to do collation and recollation to satisfy yourself.
You satisfied?
Oh, yes.
With the Sunyani West parliamentary contest now over, the picture in the next parliament is clearer. The MPP and the NDC will both have 137 seats. There will be one independent MP who has indicated he will vote with the MPP side. Ghana's parliament is, for the first time in the Fourth Republic, hung. No party has a majority. The first battle in this hung parliament is set to play out when the House decides who becomes the next speaker. Both parties will have an equal say. It will come down to the vote of the independent candidate.
So that was a report put together by head of our political desk, Evans Mensah. Now, Kwame Chumesi Ampofo is MP-elect for Sunyani West.
So far as we win. So every win is a win.
Do you believe that this is an indication that the NDC might or will get this impeachment seat for them to gain a majority in Parliament?
If you go through transparency election or free and fair election, NDC is very strong and is traditional party in the Sunyani West. So I don't think NDC will go down. Despite that the vote is so close, 16 margin doesn't mean that NDC is going to lose the election next year. We are going to beef up and we make sure.
Now, as we head for a potential hung parliament, the minority says it believes it won the Techiman South seat, that's the minority NDC, and is demanding recollation before building any consensus with the NPP side. Here's Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu.
How come that there can be recollation and coalition in Sunyani West and there cannot be a recollation in Techiman South? So even if you are asking NDC to go to court to question what? When simply they cannot even make available to the NDC an outcome of a declared result of an election officer. Collate and recollate Techiman South prior to the swearing in of who eventually is declared president of Ghana. Without it, the party will advise itself. I know that compromises will be important. It's early yet, but the MPP know that they lost an election. A ruling government struggling for one seat desperately.
Let's stay a while on the issue of a potential hung parliament. The executive director of the African Center for Parliamentary Affairs, Dr. Rashid Dramani, says a hung parliament is rare. Speaking to Mama Vio Usabwaji on the AM show, Dr. Dramani said the incoming parliament presents constitutional challenges in determining the majority and minority sides, and this necessitates some interpretation of the Constitution.
I don't know who to call majority leader, and I don't know who to call minority leader if the seats remain this way. I mean, except to say that, you know, if it is true that the kingmaker, if I could call him that way, the former MP, if it is true that he is going to be joining and voting with the MPP, then at least they have a one-seat majority when it comes to voting, but not when it comes to seats. Because once he says that he's MPP, then that same kind of situation that befell him before we went to vote, that is when he was expelled from Parliament. I think that article will be triggered again, and then he will lose his seat. So for now, he would, I mean, based on what we have read in the media, he says he'll be voting and sitting with the MPP. So in that case, they have a one-person majority. I don't know what that means constitutionally. I don't know what that means based on the law. In
parliaments, per their own standing orders, there's a minority side and there is a majority side.
Majority.
There wasn't room for what we are experiencing today.
Yes, indeed. I think the premise of our constitution, again, that's what I'm saying. Perhaps the lawyers would have to look at the constitution carefully. Sometimes there are some hidden clauses, and then sometimes maybe some different interpretations. But I think our premise of the Constitution did not foresee this, and even perhaps I'm here to carefully look at the standing orders. But I have seen a situation where, in some countries, for instance, recently we were doing some work in Sierra Leone, and looking at their standing orders, they went to elections recently, and all of a sudden there were so many parties in Parliament. And then they don't have a coalition. So you talk to some of the smaller parties, they say, no, these standing orders are not, meant for this kind of parliament. They were meant for a parliament where there was a clear majority and minority. Because now we don't know what to call ourselves. We the smaller parties. And I think if you look at our situation right now, we might be facing the same thing, when you look at the Constitution, as well as when you look at the standing orders, the Bible of our Parliament.
Legal practitioner Martin Pebu, however, says the nation can only wait to see how things pan out in the next Parliament.
The business. When it comes to the business, a lot of the business is when they take the vote is by majority, so that if they vote, so like we mentioned the typical example of election of the speaker, simple majority, they will carry the vote. So for all those businesses that require the simple majority, they vote and then they carry the day. So it's beyond that, and with those ones that require two-thirds, you see that they are not even things that arise very often. You say, so perhaps I think the best at this stage is to wait and see. Yeah, wait and see. I think that would be the best solution at this stage. Because as I said, to the extent that this is new to us, they themselves, now they'll begin to think through. Okay, so when they think through, sure, there's this eminent or salient principle that even the courts use, that Parliament is master of its own procedures.
Now, away from Parliament, scores of NDC supporters were arrested on Thursday for taking part in what the police describes as illegal protests on streets leading to the Electoral Commission's headquarters. The protesters burned tires, mounted roadblocks, and pelted police officers with stones to express their disagreement over the 2020 presidential election results. Head of operations for the Accra Region Police, ACP Kwesi Fori, says security agencies will use every means to ensure the law and order is complied with. Max Olagbagba was there for Joy News.
Yeah, hello, Bennett. No, you can't cut me down. Hello, Bennett. Hello, Bennett. The vehicle come.
Security personnel deployed to maintain order on the streets in front of the Electoral Commission headquarters, firing rubber bullets to disperse the agitated crowd. Many of them, clad in red clothes, charged at the police whilst chanting.
The vehicle come. Rubber bullets, police are using to disperse the crowd. Same thing we have here in that container. So these are rubber bullets they are using to disperse the crowd. Now, things were calm some minutes ago, but the situation escalated again. And now they are trying to escalate the situation. There's still some firing going on. Many of them have told us that they are going to continue demonstrating. And this will continue for days. You can see the Accra Region Director of Operations in control of the situation as it stands now with his men. The lady going, the police officer going, is actually picking the remnants of the rubber bullets that were fired some minutes ago. And they have that in that vehicle. Let's try and get the Director of Operations for the Ghana Police Service. This is a very crucial and critical time. Let's find out from him. ACP Kwesi Fori, what is the strategy now?
The strategy is to drive out the vandalism that we're witnessing on the street, destroying property, attacking individuals and so forth. And we will not sit down for lawlessness to prevail on our street. First and foremost, the assembly is unlawful, and also using petrol and other dangerous liquid. We will not accept this, and in line with public order management.
Now they are pelting huge stones, huge rocks. Other police officers, David Amma, kindly come back. Okay, it's getting a bit. Can we have a good view of what is happening right now? They're pelting huge rocks right now. The supporters are pelting huge rocks at the police right now, and that happened as the police tried to take some persons into their custody. You can see that huge rock being pelted at the police, and the police is also leaving those stones unturned here. I can see the Director of Operations for the Ghana Police Service, ACP Kwesi Fori, commanding his men to move from the other sections, telling all of them to move in to push the crowd further. Are you a police officer? No, it's inside. I won't be. This is for West. This is for West.
Per the public order dictates, you should notify the police of your intention to demonstrate. This was not done. They just came onto the street and behaving violently. We are in a democratic state and we will not permit this kind of behavior and attitude. And it is a criminal conduct, attacking people, throwing stones against properties, removing adverts on the streets that people are paid for. I've noticed that, therefore, we are sending a strong message to these demonstrators and those of the like, that the police will deal ruthlessly with.
Let's now speak to lawyer Susu. He is representing some of the NDC supporters who were arrested. We are told they're expected to be arraigned today. Thank you for your time here this morning. What's the update on your clients?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Cherished viewers. The update is that we are still at the Jaben court, yet to be called for the hearing of the matter. We are looking forward to applying for bail for them. particularly the offense being charged being bailable offense. The number of them that sustained various degrees of injuries yesterday as a result of some assault during the arrest. So we are just hoping that the court will be magnanimous and admit them to bail, which is also their constitutional right. Then we can, at appropriate time, inquire into the matter.
Beyond representing your clients in court, I stand to be corrected, but I do know that lawyers also advise their clients. The police has come out to encourage persons who want to protest to notify them 5 days to the time and also do so peacefully. We've seen just what happened on Thursday. There were pelting of stones, burning of tires. What is, and you're a member of the NDC as well, what is your party doing to ensure that if you still want to go ahead with these protests, your supporters do so peacefully?
Well, I believe that as a very responsible political party, all steps are being taken to calm our ranks so that if anyone wants to embark on any such action, you can give the police notice in accordance with the Public Order Act. And also encouraging everyone to be very peaceful and protest. Protesting is a constitutional right, but we also understand that those constitutional rights are limited by the Public Order Act, just to make sure that you don't also endanger other people.
But have your supporters been made to understand this?
Oh, well, I mean, it's a process. This conversation and this communique has gone down with our people, and we are hoping that they will definitely live up to expectation. And that, let's not underestimate the fact that, some of these political tensions, trying to quench them and even ordering them in accordance with the rule of law, sometimes can be, challenging. But what is important is that we understand this position of the law, and we are advising our rank and file to make sure that whatever they do must be within the limits of the law. Everyone can protest if you want to, but let's give police a notice. And also, when you are on a protest, let's ensure that they are peaceful. If you look at the people who are being arraigned before the court today, a lot of them walk into this protest really not knowing that they have been noticed or they have not been noticed. And you cannot charge this innocent people, most of them who you can describe as involuntary agents. And you know what? A lot of the guys who were really misbehaving on this protest, trying to bend ties and other things, none of them is here today. These are some of them have been bystanders. Some of them are people who are walking by and who have all been arrested, about 30 of them. Okay. So the dynamics are quite different. So we are just hoping that today we can get a bill for them, then we can inquire into the substantive market.
This week, we've seen quite a number of protests. There was one in Tamale and another in Wa, and there we saw leadership of the party in those particular regions as part of the protest. This one that happened yesterday, was it sanctioned by the party?
Can you kindly ask that again? I think I can't get you very clearly.
I am asking if this protest that happened yesterday, for which some people were arrested and in court, was it sanctioned by the NDC?
Well, these are, spontaneous reaction of the rank and file in response to the just ended election. And you can understand that it's a very tense political environment, and everybody and every organized group of people in their branches are people who are trying to show in one way or the other how they believe that the election has been flawed. It's a bit difficult even to tell from where I'm standing which constituency might have sanctioned, which authority might have sanctioned or might not have sanctioned. What we know is that a lot of people are protesting in their constituencies, in their areas. Some of them are actually peaceful. Some are just thank you tours that eventually turn out to be protests and so on and so forth. So the point is that we are in a political environment and a political season where a lot of these things may happen. Okay. When they happen, the best we can do as a responsible political party is to continue to calm our ranks, let them know that you have a right to protest, but let's all try and do within the limits of the law. Let it be peaceful, because sometimes in protest, the people you disturb Some of them are your own members. The traffic you cause affect not only NPP members or CPP members, it affects Ghanaians, some of whom are also NDC members who vote for the NDC. So it's important that we all have level heads as we deal and navigate this political situation that we find ourselves in.
All right, finally, the people you are representing in court, are you representing all persons who were arrested?
That is so. I'm representing all the 32, and I'm here with, 5 other lawyers. We have the former Attorney General here, lawyer John Matt, lawyer Adam Jr., and some other lawyers who are here to support.
So those who've been arrested, can you confirm if they are indeed members of your party, or you're representing them because...
We cannot confirm each and every one of them, but at least there's one person I know is one of our party chairmen, I think of one of the constituencies. Okay, so you're representing them because they were fighting the NDC's cause, is that it? That is so. We are representing them because these are people who have come out to protest in exercise of their constitutional rights. Except that, of course, there may be challenges in that exercise, and that is what we are seeking to legally address.
All right. Thank you for your time this morning. Lawyer Francis Xavier Sosu there, talking about the arrests that the police made in relation to that protest on streets leading to the EC's headquarters on Thursday. You're watching Newsdesk with me, Bernice Abubedulan. So let's talk about COVID-19, because right here in Ghana, we are seeing our numbers in the region of 900. Well, the Ghana Medical Association has this caution for you.
Did you know that the number of COVID-19 cases in Ghana is going up gradually? This is largely because of the relaxation in the COVID-19 preventive protocols. The Ghana Medical Association is calling on all Ghanaians to observe the necessary preventive measures. Let's wear our face masks when we have to do that. Let's observe the necessary social and physical distances. And above all, let's observe the necessary hand hygiene. Be responsible and keep safe. Thank you.
320 deaths so far due to COVID-19. 48,055 confirmed cases at present. Over 500 active cases confirmed. Many more have not reported for diagnosis, and they live among us, in our homes, our churches, our restaurants, our offices. Would you help prevent this second wave, as many countries in Europe are experiencing second waves? Let's stick to the COVID-19 prevention protocols. Observe strict hand hygiene, wear your face mask, observe social distancing.
Keep your distance. Physical distance is still a must if we must avoid a second wave of COVID-19. Think twice before you join a crowd. Is there enough space for adequate social distancing? Before you speak to anyone, take 3 steps back. They can still hear you. Let's all come together to avoid a second wave of COVID-19.
But I've been infected already. Can I get infected again? If I get infected, would I infect others? Wow, there's a lot we are learning about reinfections. But yes, data suggests that reinfections are possible. Therefore, to err on the side of caution, let's continue to wear our mask, especially in public places. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water, avoid crowded areas, and ensure social or physical distancing. Let's help prevent a second wave.
We have seen the impact of COVID-19 on various sectors of our lives. The hard decisions on restriction of movements. It is difficult to predict the outcome of a second wave. Let's all come together, wear our face masks, observe the protocols, hand hygiene, and social distancing. Let's prevent a second wave.
You are very much appreciated here, you, my audience, and so please stick to the COVID-19 protocols and stay alive. Well, elderly persons and health workers in care homes in the United Kingdom have begun receiving COVID-19 vaccines. The vaccines available in some countries are being given to these specialized groups who are considered vulnerable due to the nature of their work or their age. Egypt is the only country in Africa which has received 100,000 of the China-based Sinopharm COVID-19 vaccine. And that's enough to have 50,000 people inoculated. Well, why don't we find out what it feels like to have the COVID-19 vaccine? We know that in the UK, Pfizer and BioNTech have started vaccinating. Joining us for this conversation is a healthcare assistant in London, Dorothy Ofosu-Asante, who's had her first shot of the vaccine yesterday. She joins us via Zoom. Hello, good morning to you. First, tell us how it feels when you get that shot.
Hello, good morning, Ghana.
Good morning.
I'm Dorothy Ofosu-Asante. I'm a carer in one of the private care homes in London. And then I think the government asked all carers in the care home to have the vaccine first. So at first it was scary, but I think one of my friends who was put to the testing earlier suggested to me that if that person has survived, then we can also survive. So she encouraged me. She went to have it first last week, and then yesterday I had it. And it's okay. It's just like a normal flu vaccine, which you don't have any pain. From yesterday, I haven't had any pain. I just have paracetamol, and then I'm fine and back to work. Yeah.
So it doesn't leave any burning sensation or anything of the kind. It's just normal.
Yeah, a little bit. I think we all know when we have our little babies, even when we have their immunization, they all have a little temperature and a bit of pain there. But before I had my vaccine yesterday, I took paracetamol a night before. And then yesterday, before I went to have the vaccine, I took another paracetamol, and I'm fine. I'm very, very fine. I haven't had any reaction at all.
I still see that you've got your mask. Yes. Is it that for those of you who've taken the vaccine, you're still being advised to adhere to the protocols?
Yes, apparently we are going to have 2 doses.
Okay.
So I just took one, and I think after 8 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks, I'll go back and have another dose, which is the final dose to clear you from the COVID.
All right.
So I think after that, the marks will be exempted from those who have taken it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But is the second shot compulsory? Are you monitored to ensure that you have really, taking the second shot?
Yeah, you book a date for that. I think when I called to book the first dose, I was asked to book for the second dose as well.
Okay.
And then yesterday, they put the date there, which is on the 14th of January. I'll go for the second dose, yeah.
We've heard a lot of rumors and there are a lot of conspiracies about...
I think that it's the blacks scared it's there for them for testing, but I don't think it's for only blacks.
Okay.
A lot of the white people here, my managers are all white. They all gone for the vaccine.
Okay.
So it's for everyone. It's not about the blacks.
Okay. There are those who are scared of having side effects. There are a lot of rumors, conspiracy theories. Did you have any doubts personally when you were going in for this, thinking about side effects and all the conspiracy theories around the COVID-19 vaccine?
Yes. I was very, very scary. Initially, when we were called and then were told to go and do the vaccine, I was the first person to say, no, I'm not going to do it. And even when I went home, I was so furious. I was telling my husband, they can't force me to go and have it. But later, a friend of mine told me she's from Brazil, and then she told me she was going to have it. So I said, okay, you go and have it. After you have it and I'll see how it goes, then I'll go and take mine. And then I think few of my colleagues have gone for it, and then they have got no reaction at all. And the next day, they are back to work. So I decided to go for it. And yesterday, I was so shocked. When I went, there was a queue.
Okay.
A queue. Yeah, a queue. So I would urge everyone, if you qualify for it, go for it. There is no any scary part of it at all.
And well, I can still see that you're at work. We'll leave you to go. But right here in Ghana, we haven't had any news of receiving a vaccine yet. And there are a lot of us here who are waiting, hoping that, well, we receive that good news.
And yesterday, the doctor was telling me that it's a very expensive dose. And then I think very soon new ones are going to come.
Okay.
And then probably you have to later on, after a year or two, you have to pay to go and have it. So just if you have the chance, just go and have it. It's just like the normal vaccinations we have during our childhood age, polio and meningitis and everything, in the normal flu. So don't be scared, go for it, and then you'll be fine. You just all want to be happy life and then move on. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story, Dorothy. We wish you all the best. And that's Dorothy Ofosu Asante. She's a healthcare assistant in London. She's sharing her experience having taken the COVID-19 vaccine, and that particular one being used in London is produced by Pfizer and BioNTech. But like she said, there are many others. We have Moderna and we have the other ones from China that we understand Egypt has procured. We will wait here to see what happens in Ghana. You're watching Newsdesk with me, Benis Abubedu Lansa. It's a few days to Christmas and the Yuletide comes with a lot of excitement as people make plans to stock up their fridges and storehouses with food stuff. But when the prices keep rising, many get worried. It's a few days to Christmas and many foodstuffs from corn to eggs are becoming a little more expensive. Judith Awachitando visited the Malata market. Here's her report.
So we've been speaking to some local traders at the Malata Market Center. And according to them, there has been an increment in the prices of their goods. And so we'll be speaking to some of these market women to understand what they think is the cause of this increment, as well as how badly it has affected their businesses.
Traders at the Malata market say that prices of goods have increased as a result of duties, climate changes and the COVID-19 pandemic. Some have also attributed the hike to the Christmas season, saying such hikes are normal during these times. According to them, this has affected their businesses as customers are unwilling to buy their goods.
Truly, prices have increased. Maize used to be sold at 250 Ghana cedis a bag, but now it's being sold at 300 Ghana cedis. For the foreign goods, I will attribute the price hike to export duties. The price hike for farm goods, however, can be attributed to the climate change.
The prices have really increased. The fishes we sell here are all from Ivory Coast, and due to that, the export duties are very high. It has really affected my business.
Affecting business, price they are high. Normal because
the prices have increased, but it is normal due to the festive season. These are going for 10 and 11 cedis, and the small ones are being sold at 8 cedis. But during this season, we can get this for 8 cedis.
Every time the season, to get September, they turn 10, which means to say 8 cedis.
At first, it used to be sold at 60, with the highest being 19 cedis. But now it's going for 22, 23, or 26 cedis.
Contrary to the popular views, a local plantain seller at the market says her prices have rather gone low. She explains that the prices of plantain are usually low during the Christmas season. For her, business is booming.
By God's grace, the price of plantains have not increased. This was also the case last year. For about 6 years, the cost of plantain was high, until the past 4 years. Business for me is going well.
Judith Awachitando's report for Joy News.
You're watching Newsdesk with me, Bernice Abubedulansa. Earlier, we brought you that story involving the arrest of persons who participated in Thursday's protest over the election results. They're currently in court, but still to come in business. Ghana and Germany sign agreement to mobilize investment to grow local enterprises.
Hi, good morning. Welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. The Ghana Investment Promotion Center, GIPC, and Invest for Jobs, an initiative of the German Federal Ministry of Economic Cooperation and Development, have signed an agreement to mobilize investments and promote growth of enterprises. The cooperation will address investment promotion challenges reinforced by the COVID-19 pandemic to help maintain and create new jobs in Ghana. Here's Head of Development Cooperation at the German Embassy, Dorothy Dinkler.
This implementation agreement represents the first long-term cooperation between GIPC and the German corporation in Ghana. The GIPC has always been at the fore of successful investment promotion in Ghana and contributes to making Ghana one of the most important place for doing business in West Africa, but also within the continent. Let me also acknowledge the success of the campaign. We heard it earlier, Grow in Ghana, Grow with Ghana, which contributes to the outreach of business success in Ghana and internationally, and inspires investors to seize opportunities available in the country. All these make GIPC a very essential partner for the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development, BMZ. Also to fulfill the goal of supporting German, but also European and certainly African companies and investors engaging in Africa, especially in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, as a consequence of the COVID-19 pandemic, UNCTAD, or UNCTAD, expected globally a decline in foreign direct investment of 30 to 40% just during the period of 2020 to 2021. Although tax exemptions, grants, and other measures have swiftly been established by the Ghanaian government to mitigate the impact of the pandemic on companies and that already exist, however, the pandemic highlighted the shortcomings of the digital transformation in Ghana and thus presenting opportunities to improve services for foreign investors through digitization of investment promotion service.
The Chief Executive of the GIPC, Yofi Grant, described the agreement as pivotal to the digital agenda of government.
Financial contribution facilitated by GIZ is the amount of 762,300 euros. And it goes to actually facilitate some specific areas. I mean, we've already received 390,000, it's in a bank account, and we are using it for various initiatives, specific initiatives. We believe strongly that our critical key focus areas, especially under the SDGs, is SDG 1 and SDG 17, the first and the last. Now, SDG 1, of course, is about poverty alleviation and poverty eradication. And that can only be facilitated when we energize and strengthen the SME sector. Now, SDG 17, on the other hand, is about partnership and linkages. So we believe that to cover from 1 to 17 means that we have to focus on 1 and 17, and that will bridge the gap significantly. So we are also particularly delighted about that. But we also recognize that Ghana and Germany had a compact with Africa arrangement where we had many initiatives coming out of that. And I'm delighted to say one of the developments that came out of that is today we are actually assembling VW cars in Ghana. There are other initiatives with Bosch, with Siemens, and many other German companies that have come out of the compact with Africa, especially in the energy side. And so we are very happy that we've taken one step further, and now we are actually looking at job creation in the SME sector, which is a very, very important part for our economy.
And that's it for business. Spike is coming up next with some tech news. Stay tuned.
Thank you for staying here on Newsdesk, as we do every Friday. Time now to know what's happening in the world of technology, and Spikey is here. So we've got news from different sectors, from gaming to social media. Let's start with Sony, because they've done something to their 2077.
So there's a game called Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay.
And it's been, we've been anticipating a game for a very long time, for almost 7 years. The game came out, and those who are using PlayStation 4s and the older consoles are experiencing what I should say underwhelming, performance. Imagine waiting all these years and a game comes and it's not so nice like you expected it to be. So they're upset. And well, the company is deciding to refund everyone who bought the game, saying that they'll give you back your money if you didn't like the game.
Oh, wow.
Yes. But Sony has this weird thing with their refund policy, and it's making it difficult for those who bought it from Sony to get their refund. So now Sony is saying that, you know what? There's a link, follow that link, go there, sign in with your PlayStation account and request for a refund.
Okay.
We will give
Please, this does not include those of you who have hacked the
those
game.
who cracked the game.
Yeah, crack. I was looking for the right tech word, but it wasn't coming. So those of you who've cracked the game, sorry, you don't have any refunds at all, because you didn't purchase the game at all. But let's move quickly to Twitter, because Twitter is reversing or going back to how retweets used to happen. Why is that? Why would they want to go back?
Why wouldn't they go back? Everybody's been complaining.
Yeah, it's difficult to retweet.
You put the retweet button up. At first, you could retweet something without quoting. You just hit the retweet button, you retweeted. Yeah. Then all of a sudden, Twitter woke up one day and said, we want to move the retweet button to the top, where you have to, some cumbersome way, and people complain, and you know what, they listen, and we're glad they listen. So they're reverting to the old way of doing things. So if you're on Twitter and you didn't like the new retweet, I can go back to the old one.
All right. Yeah, as we say in our local parlance, akan sankofa yentri. Hey! Wow, well done. I'm impressed. Okay, so quickly, let's move to the Apple Facebook feud.
We've talked about that for a while.
Yes, but I think Facebook is actually becoming too not huge, but it's becoming less of social media for me. It feels sometimes like I'm watching TV actually, because you want to watch a video and now there's more than one advert, placed on a video, and I'm beginning to think, okay, making a lot of money, I understand, it's important, but tell us what Apple and Facebook are feuding over.
Well, we've always said any tech products that you're not paying for, you are the product. Okay. And that's how Facebook has to make money. They sell ads to you. And these ads are made possible by what we call trackers. Now, these trackers are on the internet, everywhere you go, following your activities. That's how come if you go on a website that sells stuff, like a classified site, and then you go and look for something to buy, and you don't buy it, and you next time go to Facebook, you'd see that they'll be showing you those ads.
So Facebook is spying on us.
Well, technically,
yes.
They are spying on you. And Apple is saying that they're going to tell everyone every single way that you're being tracked. And they're going to prevent it. And Facebook is saying, well, this is not fair. And this is because Facebook had an issue with how Apple was charging, Apple tax of all the money that every person made a purchase on Apple. So Apple is doing this, saying that, hey, we're going to let people know that it's not fair, you're tracking them, and we're going to help them block it. And Facebook is also fighting this. So that's what's happening. It's either your privacy or Facebook making money. And if Facebook doesn't make money, then that's downhill for Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp for all of us.
And not for us, because prior to they making all this money, Facebook existed. I understand the need to expand and the need to pay workers and all, but hey, sometimes you have to also think about the interest of your consumer, and we've almost been made helpless in this whole argument. I don't know what they think about.
Rather not see ads.
Rather not, or maybe not in the way they are being put out there on video. All right, quickly, we have to run away and do sports, but there's a SunBust hack.
Yeah.
Why is it so serious?
So this is serious because the way it was targeted, and a software that people use was asking, you know, sometimes you get these updates, and we're always telling people updates so that you don't get hacked. And there's a software called SolarWinds, and it got an update. An update was served to people. Oh, download this update. And they downloaded it. Little did they know that it was a Trojan horse. It was a booby trap. Now, the people were trying to get in there with this update, even without SolarWinds knowing. So these hackers gained access to these machines. Over 18,000 workers in companies and governments, they downloaded these updates. So even the Department of Homeland Security in the United States has been breached. Now, this is a very serious thing. So, if you don't know where the update is coming from, right now you might want to be careful. If there's an update, just give it a while. Let people tell you, oh, it's good to go before you download it. Otherwise,
maybe we may have to spend some more time next week talking about how to identify if an update is really from the software developer.
It could be from, like in this case, it is actually coming from the software developer.
So the people hacked the software developer and then
through there.
Wow, that's very complicated. Yeah. Well, that's the world of technology for you. It always is complicated. But thank you so much, Spiky, for letting us know what's happening in the world of tech. But quickly, though, Ore Kwampofu will join me for sports. Time for sports now, and if you are a Kotoko fan, I don't know how this news will come to you. Your coach, Maxwell Kunedu, and your club have parted ways. And I remember, Oreku, when Maxwell Kunedu was signed as coach of Kotoko, there was a lot of excitement. And people thought that, well, he could bring some dynamism. Why has this happened?
I think, as you rightly mentioned, everyone was really excited by Maxwell returning to the club where it really started for him. He came in the first in 2011-2012, where he won the season and literally blew everyone away. He won by, beating Ashgold by 14 points. That was the gap between first and second. So he was really dominant. He did pretty well, but then left right after that season, and he came back some 9 years later, and people thought perhaps he could, bring Kotoko's glory days back. Unfortunately, it hasn't been the same issue, and football is a results-based game. And you look at his record so far, he's been in charge of 20 games, and he's won just 9. Now, one of that 9 was because the other team couldn't turn up due to coronavirus. That's Nwadibo in the preliminary round of the CAF Champions League. But you can see his record, and if you put the second stint by the first stint, there is a huge difference, and certainly he seemed to have lost his mojo just a little bit, and perhaps that might have been his downfall. I think it's a bit harsh though, because technically he just suffered one defeat this season, and guess what? It was against Olympics.
But you see, I'm just looking at 30 matches, 18 wins, and 18 matches, 8 wins, and I'm thinking maybe if you had allowed him to go a little more, probably, because if he wins, let me say 7 of the rest of the 12 games, that won't be bad. I mean, the difference won't be that much from his first stint.
That's the problem at Asante Kotoko. I think the club is too close with their fans, and the fans were very displeased with Maxwell Kunedu.
So it's a fan-driven club.
Yeah, they weren't pleased. Even when they lost against the Olympics, the hashtag Maxwell Kunedu out was trending on Twitter. Yeah. So they've not been really happy with Maxwell. But I just think the timing is a bit too poor. They play Dreams FC this weekend, and then 3 days later, they play against Al Hilal in the preliminary round of the CAF Champions League.
So maybe they could have waited a bit
more.
Well, let's see. Well, we've got to go, but shortly though, if you can tell us the weekend games to look forward to.
Well, there is Ghana Premier League action, and it does kick off tonight. You have Legon Cities playing Abusia Dwell.
Is Asamoah playing?
Asamoah Gyan, he might play, but Shirefo say he still has to work on him. And then we also do have some more matches. Dreams FC would be playing against Kotoko as well. And there are matches all over Europe, and if we're going to go to all that, then
we won't have time. But definitely you can get to the sports page on myjoyonline.com or follow the Joy News Sports team on social media for the very latest. Thank you very much, Ore Kwampofu, and thank you for watching the show today. I appreciate your company. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are Joy News on TV, on Facebook, and we are also on Twitter. I am Bernice Abubeidulamsa. Please don't go away. For my entire team, we wish you the very best of the day and the weekend. But Mapitso Sibidi is next with JoyNews Interactive.